Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch. All right, folks, we are moving into series. What are we on? Series 5? Series 6? I'm losing track. What series are we on? As I scan my notes. Oh, we are still in series 5. Yes, but we're on Terrorform. I want to go ahead and admit before we get into this episode that I had overlooked just how much of a fun episode this is because I think I was looking ahead to Terraform. Not Terraform, Quarantine. This is Terraform. All right, so episode 3, Terraform, directed by Juliet May, written by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. It was released on the 5th of March, 1992. So let's get into a summary. So we find that Crichton and Rimmer have crash landed on what is a Psi-Moon, it turns out, an artificial planetoid which transforms or terraforms itself to match the inner psyche and subconscious of anyone who lands on it. Crichton is trapped under wreckage in the crash, and Rimmer finds himself alone and taken prisoner by manifestations of his own inner demons. Lister, Kat, and Holly arrive to rescue them. They find themselves trapped in an environment shaped by Rimmer's bizarre, self-loathing mind. So let's break this down. So we open with the crash. We've seen the crash star bug. We go inside, we find Crichton all beat up. His CPU is talking to him, telling him to remain calm. His legs are crushed. His lifespan is down to 67 minutes. While he goes into shut-off mode, he gets this like cabana music, which is absolutely the funniest thing. And so he's on hold. The auto repair apparently is able to restore his vigils, and he manages to start recording what's going on around him. Tries to free himself, but he's got limited time. He manages to basically detach his arm and put one of his eyes on the finger and send it off to get help. And using one of the homing sample pods, he sends it back to Red Dwarf. The hand makes it back to Red Dwarf. Holly pops in on Lister to tell him that there's a pod that's arrived. She doesn't know what is it. She lost track of it. She's asking him about his fear of tarantulas, which he has a deadly fear of. And so he's actually scared of his mind. Holly basically ends up accidentally, or maybe on purpose, stoking his fear. And of course, like I said, she lost sight of it. He's at this computer panel when all of a sudden he feels something touch his leg and he freezes in panic. He thinks it's a tarantula. Kat comes in and he's so frozen in panic he won't say anything to him. So he starts typing out on the keyboard like what's going on. He's like, oh, this is one of those adventure games, which is hilarious because it made me think of Big and that little old school invention typewritten games where you would type out decisions in order to advance the thing. He says he thinks he's making it. He thinks he's playing the game. So he says, why don't you just get a potion from Gandalf the Master Wizard? And then he's still in this panic mode when Kat looks at it and describes it. And he's typing back to him. And they're literally just sitting there typing back and forth to each other. It's crawling up him towards his joy department. It finally appears on the desk and types out hello before telling them Crichton's situation. I'm pretty sure Lister soiled himself. I've got to be sure about this. So they take Starbug 2 to go find Crichton. Lister finds Crichton and starts repairing him. He comes back online. The process, very awkward on and off process of Crichton's consciousness cutting out. Crichton awakes to find Kat hovering over him going, oh, he's still alive. Lister has apparently repaired him, but interestingly enough, there are a few parts left over. It's like, oh, that's always the case. And apparently this is when he then gets up and walks backwards, and of course he discovered where those parts were. But Rimmer had them come here to claim the planet for Space Corps. And the Empire planet, while they were performing the ceremony, started to erupt and reshape itself. And apparently, last thing he remembered Rimmer is him screaming. He realizes that something took Rimmer. And Holly is able to track him. And like I said, Crichton walks backwards, noticing that missing circuit board. The world is very weird. They decide to go on the tracks, which I didn't realize Starbug had, or at least I've forgotten. Starbug 2. And this is where Crichton posits his suspicion that this is a Psi-Moon. It adapts its terrain, in this case, to match the subconscious of Rimmer. Monsters, foul noises, etc. It's a pretty horrible place. He was taken apparently by his personal demons, his neuroses. And now they're kind of afraid, and I think Lister makes the comment that they might run into Rimmer's lust monster. Here, Rimmer is in a physical form. He is not a hologram on this moon. And so they're just getting the impression that all the driving forces he has appear to be horrible. They do find Rimmer being taken. We do find Rimmer, as the audience, finding him being taken by these hooded creatures. He's trying to lecture them about his legal rights. They chain him up in a column in the dungeon. He is to be sacrificed to the dark, unspeakable one. Beautiful women enter, and Rimmer kind of tries to turn on his charm. The fact they play with his nipples. They strip Rimmer down, oil him up for the sacrifice, and he comes to realize that apparently he's the sacrifice. Lister and the whole rest of the crew have proceeded on foot. So Rimmer is getting rubbed down by those women, claims he won't crack. He almost does. The women then summon the monster. Oil apparently helps conduct the electricity he's going to be tortured with. The crew, moving on foot now, have taken a boat to get closer to his location. They're trying to get to Rimmer. There's a lake, a swamp, there's a little fire going, little hooded Jawa-looking creatures. Find signs in the swamp of despair. Frogs ribbit useless. There's a leech that Lister finds on his neck that apparently has Rimmer's mom's face. And then they stumble upon a series of graves, and they find generosity, died age 9, self-confidence, age 22, honor, aged but not forgotten, age 12, etc. And they find a freshly dug grave that is not yet occupied that is labeled Hope. It is empty for the moment, but this is where Crichton's like, okay, we gotta find him, because that's what they're trying to break from him. The monster, then going back to where Rimmer is, the monster climbs out of this pit. He's the unspeakable one. Rimmer tries to talk his way out of it, as usual. The creature takes out a red-hot poker, and basically talking about all the nightmares will come true, according to this creature. The creature is Rimmer's own self-hate and self-loathing. Gets a whole spiel about how all these worst things about him are true. Crew finally reaches the building, and they are there when this torture begins. They're above, and they manage to overhear the monster, and they decide to kill it and rescue Rimmer. How magnanimous of them. They shoot the monster up. It retreats a bit, but it seems not beaten. There seems to have been actually no damage. They just kind of stunned him. Rimmer all of a sudden has hope for a moment that they came for him, and then we see the monsters in real pain. They have not put this together yet. The crew leaves while Crichton tries to give, in the middle of trying to give a binary 1001101 thing about not standing around while in mortal danger, which takes longer than simply communicating it in English. They get back to Starbug, and they're getting out of there when all of a sudden Rimmer starts complaining about the day he's had. And then the Psi-Moon, he won't seem to accept that the Psi-Moon is a reflection of his own mind. Crichton, it gives him his self-loathing list of basically all the terrible things about him, and then all of a sudden the ship gets bogged down as they're trying to flee. They're stuck, and they're sinking. Cat wants to use rocket packs, to which Crichton has to remind him that we don't have them and they don't exist, apparently only in some comic book cartoon. The monster then tells him to hand over Rimmer, and the rest of them can live. Rimmer decides to give himself up, but no, really, he's going to go hide behind the boilers now in the engineering. Finally realize that they have the power to kill this monster. It's about propping up Rimmer's confidence and self-belief. Crichton tries out this theory by chewing him out, demeaning him, and it works. They start seeking. Then he takes Lister and Cat aside into the cockpit, and they figure out what they have to do. They got to go out there and prop him up and be authentic. Problem is all in Rimmer's head. Lister catches on. They've got to make Rimmer feel good, and they're going to escape and vanquish the monster. They go to tell him that basically they love him. They have to be sincere. They pop their heads out of the cockpit, begin telling him how awesome he is, and they all end up at the end kind of embracing in this weird four-way group hug. It's so awkward. So awkward. When Crichton and Lister put hands on Rimmer's knees at one point, and they lie out their teeth to him. But all of a sudden, his confidence is boosted, and then like these ghost-like musketeers, all of Rimmer, reappear from the graves we saw earlier, and they start attacking and killing all the demons. And they are then able to escape and take off. And Lister calls them out for all their fake attention, and they just admit it. They just let him have it. That's exactly right. All right. Like I said, I'd forgotten how fun this episode was. I was so looking ahead to quarantine. I do apologize. But that is what we will get to next time. Quarantine and Mr. Fibbles. That's right. And the King of the Potato People. So that's something to look forward to next time. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Please write us, comment at this on these videos. But also, if you want to see us do things, change up things, these YouTube videos, what do you want to see? You can always write me with the description below, our email. But if you want to check the ticker below right now, it's notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. You can write us about this or any of our other things I'll tell you guys in a minute. But I've got some ideas about what we're going to kind of try and do after this, but we've still got to finish. We've still got 7 more seasons of Red Dwarf, really, to keep going. So we're going to keep plowing on. They are kind of short, but, you know, I want to start preparing in advance. But like I said in the past, if you guys want me to mix it up as we go along and do different episodes and then come back, like, we will finish this. But if you want me to just keep going continually on this or mix it up with some other shows, I'm open to the idea. That's why I include the email below in the ticker, along with all our other social medias. Now, if you would like to experience some more Not Funny Guys productions, shall we say, you can always check out our main podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Off the Reels. That one where we do mainly movies, just like we do mainly TV shows here. We're getting close to the end of our Star Wars run. We did episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We did episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We did episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And since we were going chronological in universe, we then went to Solo, A Star Wars Story, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and then we did the original trilogy, episode 4, A New Hope, episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, episode 6, Return of the Jedi. That's right. I'm losing track of my mind here. But then we have now moved on to the sequels, and we have already done The Force Awakens, episode 7, and we'll be moving on to episode 8? Yeah, 8. Remember my Roman numerals, I should write those down instead. Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and then we will finish up the week after with The Rise of Skywalker. And then we'll be done, and we'll see what Casey has planned for us. I don't remember who's picking next. I picked this one, but if that's not your cup of tea, you can always come and join me and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, on our short-length discussion podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where we go over little topics, things we're thinking about. We're both academics. We take it a little bit nerdier, political. We jumble it all in there. I've been trying to make an active effort to be more positive. But there is Star Wars-related material connected to Andor on our most recent episode, or actually the one that's coming out next week. I take that back. The one that's coming out next week, there is some Star Wars connected to Andor. And if you want to see more Andor, you should go back into our catalog. We did cover season 1 in a rewatch, and we did a live reaction the same week as the new episodes came out for season 2. All good. And once again, if that's not your flavor, we still have one more to offer you. We got Casey and Eric, my Not Funny Guys colleagues, over there doing their Wrestling with the Horror of It All, where they basically watch wrestling and watch a horror movie. And since it's the month of October, they're watching like one a day. So I'm sure that is a fun, not my cup of tea podcast, but maybe it's your cup of tea. And that's okay. We've got a lot of products to offer you. We're always looking for feedback on ways to improve it. So please contact us, write us emails, social media. But again, like, share, subscribe, comment on any of our things. Particularly here on the YouTube channel, we're trying to grow this one a little bit. We may even migrate the podcast over here at some point in the future. We will see. But in the meantime, keep it not funny. Don't be a smeghead. And I'll see you next time.